All right, welcome, boys and girls. It is 6 o'clock on Thursday, and you know what that means. It is Doc's Sports Football Release Party. The plays are live. No takebacks. I just posted my entire football card for the weekend. It should be you can access it at docsports.com right now, or it will be in your email inbox in 4 minutes. So I'm sorry, I'm a little exhausted. Thursdays, man, they just take it out of me. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of preparation. You got to keep your cool though, right? And that's what we're here to do, is just break it down with some of the top handicappers in the industry. First, got to take care of some bills though. That free 60 link is still down in the description. Make sure you hit that up. What that is $60 to be used free at Doc Sports. You don't have to use it on football, but let's be honest. It's a football release party. You're here for football picks, okay? That will get you $60 that you can use towards a 1-week package, which is $99 right now. Or it'll get you 2 top games. Our top football games are $30. So for instance, 2 of the guys that I have on this week, Jason Sharpe and Craig Trapp, they both have 7-unit NFL plays. One on Sunday, one on Monday, okay? That free 60 will get you those plays for free. Okay. I also want to mention that we have a promo card, FB Party 10. That will get, if we, again, doing a little math here. I said there was not going to be any math on this test, but if you get 10% off the weekly package, that drops the price to $90. Plus, I just gave you $60 free down in the description. So a week's worth of picks you can get for $30. Period. End of sentence. Don't forget about YouTube Premium, all that stuff. I'm not going to really care about or deal with, but like and subscribe. We do have a saying around here: if you don't mash the like button while you are here, you are destined to lose your bets for the day. Fortunately, it's only 24. That spell only lasts for 24 hours. But, do you really want to mess with it? Want to take a moment here to thank all of the new members, Cord Walker, the KMFDM machine. I saw you on Docs Daily, which, by the way, for the uninitiated, or for those of you that don't have notifications and aren't subscribed to Doc's YouTube channel, every day during the week, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, we have Docs Daily, a 30-minute show with a variety of handicapper. KMFDM machine. I was trying to figure out what those initials stood for. It was like, kiss my F&D mom machine. Was that it? I don't know. Hit me up in the comments and let me know if you want to share. The rest of you, thank you for joining. Anybody that is watching, if you want us to talk about a game, dump it in the comments. If you have questions, ask these questions. That is what we are here for. We want to be accessible to you as clients, customers, just football bettors, okay? You have some of the top minds in the country here at your disposal. Take advantage of it. This is what we do. This is all we do all the time. All right, Robert, if you have a minute, I got a high-profile game for you. Louisiana Monroe at UTEP. Thoughts on that one Saturday night? I think UTEP is in a little bit of a letdown spot here after they took their big swing at Texas last week. They easily covered the number in that one, but it's tough to make that shift from getting yourself all geeked up to go up against the Longhorns to then dressing up as a touchdown favorite against Louisiana Monroe. So don't love the situation for UTEP, who did look pretty good last week. That being said, there's absolutely no way that I'm betting on Louisiana Monroe. This is a team that lost 73-0 just 2 weeks ago against Alabama, and this is one of the worst college football programs in the country, right? Like ULM and Akron should play each other pretty much every week. ULM has won one of their last 8 games, both straight up and against the spread. So they're a pure fade. However, as I mentioned, we're catching UTEP in a little bit of a letdown spot. I just think there's better opportunities on the board. So, all right, we're talking college football. We're going to come back to college football, but I actually want to start with the NFL, and I'm bringing in Jason Sharpe right now because I know he has a few games. What's up, Jason? Thank you for taking time to join us. I know that you have some games on the card that you want to get to on the Sunday and Monday slate. I definitely want to ask you about your Lions. But first, we got to start with the game tonight. Miami, Buffalo. Any thoughts on what we're going to see tonight?
Probably one of the uglier games of the week, right? Not a whole lot here. You know, if you're in Survivor, obviously, if you don't have a problem playing the Thursday night Survivor play, Buffalo would be the play. I mean, Miami has looked like probably the worst team in the NFL the first 2 weeks. Their coach looks like he's on the hot seat. So I don't have any action on it, no interest in it whatsoever. But you know, Buffalo's capable of blowing out anybody in the NFL, especially bad teams, and I wouldn't be surprised if this one's over by halftime. But no interest in.
I like the over a little bit in this game. Buffalo has scored 40 and 30 points in their 2 games. This is definitely the worst defense that they have faced in 3 weeks. And, you know, that's why I have a hard time like taking the points with Miami. Look, double-digit favorite, short week, must win game because they're 0-2. You got a lot of things pointing towards Miami and a lot of value with Miami. But I talked about this a little bit on Doc's Daily earlier. It's like, I don't trust them not to just roll over and give up. Like if they get down 21-3, I haven't seen any fight out of this Miami team. They didn't fight to get back into that Indianapolis Colts game. You know, it's obvious that there is a disconnect between the players and the coach where they don't care if he gets fired, I feel like. So it's almost one of those things where they're like, you know what, if we tank this game and we lose pretty badly on Thursday night, he'll be out of here on Friday. So, you know, that dovetails into one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. And I feel like we talked about this in week 1, maybe last time you were on here, is we still have not had that upset yet. Through 2 weeks, we have not had a team that is an underdog of 6 points or more win yet. It is going to happen. It is a mathematical certainty that it is going to happen. Is there anything in the realm of possibility that could be tonight?
I think it could happen this week. I actually have a stat I wrote down earlier about that. It's 12-0. It looks like this year. Favorites of, you know, straight up favorites of 4 or more or 6 or more, one of the two. And according to what I've read, I don't know how far back this goes, but it says the 1950s. I don't know how accurate that information is, but yeah, there has been 0 upsets. And if you think about it, it's almost been that way the last 2 years. There has been really no NFL upsets, you know, very few NFL upsets. I think there's some 0-2 teams that could show some fight this week, but I don't see it being Miami. If there's one team right now I don't trust, it's the Dolphins. And like you mentioned earlier, their secondary is so bad, and so this matchup is even worse for them, I think, against the Bills.
Well, last year in week 1, New England beat Cincinnati as a 7.5-point underdog. And then in week 2, one of the weirdest results of the season where Vegas beat Baltimore in Baltimore. Weird, you know, to your point, weird things happen. It's the NFL. Now, I agree with you. There's so many structural things wrong with Miami. Their offensive line is a mess. They can't run the football. Their secondary is one of the worst in the game. That's why I kind of like the over. Like, I don't like Thursday night overs. Those games are usually mucked up. They're usually sloppy. But we have some teams with some familiarity. And if you remember, last year, these two teams met in November. It was only in Buffalo. And it was only 30-27 Buffalo won that game. So high-scoring game. They were able to hang around. Can I sell you on the over at all in this game?
You could sell me on the over. I also, divisional underdogs are the best underdog to bet. And so, yes, that does make sense. I'm just saying that even since this summer, I think the one team that's got the most negative press that I've heard about has been the Dolphins. I can remember they came in and practiced against the Lions, and there were reports coming out of that practice. It was like the worst one-sided practice that we've seen, you know. And so I just don't see any reason to want to back Miami. But, yeah, the over, I could see that with Tua and, you know, nothing to lose. You know, that would be the only way I'd go. But I've got other plans here on Thursday night. That ain't
all right, so one of the games that I really like, and I actually have a 5-unit play on this, so I'm not going to talk about this as much as just tee you up. There's a side that I like in this game. Green Bay, Cleveland. Again, we have 2 conflicting roads here. You have to pick a path and go on it. It's either you say, all right, look, one big underdog could potentially win, you know, may cover 0-2 team, you know, we like Cleveland, or you say, you know, who's looked like one of the 3 best teams in football over the first 2 weeks is Green Bay. They just dominated a very good Detroit offense in week 1. They dominated a very good Washington offense in week 2. They are now facing a not very good Cleveland offense. Let's just keep pumping money into Green Bay until they prove otherwise. So which track are you following? Cleveland is kind of a high value underdog, or Green Bay is just a buzzsaw that we should be betting?
I think Green Bay is at the top of their market right now. I would make the argument they've been the most impressive team so far in the first 2 weeks. What they did to Detroit, who in their other game, they crushed Chicago, and then what they did to Washington, who in turn crushed the Giants, shows, and neither one of those games were even close, but this is their first game outside of Lambeau. So they've had a really good setup. Those were revenge games against the Lions. They had lost 3 or 4 straight, I think, in Lambeau to them. They had lost the division the last couple of years. So that's a prideful organization, I think, that, was expected to play well in their Thursday night game against Washington, which they played really well as well, in a kind of an emotional game. But LaFleur is just so good at the beginning of the season as well. I think he's 17-6 in the month of September against the spread. The first 3 weeks, I think he's 17-3 in his career the first 3 weeks. With that said, I've actually been really impressed with Cleveland. If you look at it, they went against Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson in the first 2 starts, and they not only went against them, they stopped both of those offenses, completely shut them both down. I think both teams averaged I kept Jackson under 240 yards, or the more offense under 240. And that was a fluke, the 41-17 loss. No, they didn't deserve to win, but they didn't play 20.
That was a misleading final. That was a very misleading final.
Very misleading final. And I also have here that bigger underdogs getting +7.5 or more at the last 3 years, the first half of the season, home underdogs, 7.5 or more, have went 18-1-2. So, I would lean towards Cleveland in this game. Much so, like I said, most importantly, I think Green Bay is at the top of the market right now. Like, they deserve it. But if there's one team that's probably going to come back down to earth, everything is set up perfectly for them, playing at home the first 2 games. Now they got to go on the road. I think that this line, even a couple of weeks ago, would have been at least under a touchdown. So now being over a touchdown, I think the value is on Cleveland, sure.
But, I mean, are you really going to be – let's be completely honest here. Are you really going to be the guy that walks up to the window and slaps down $1,000? You're like, give me the Browns.
Trust me, it's going to be difficult to do it. But and stepping in front of this Green Bay train, this could be, I also could be wrong. This could also be maybe not the peak of the market. This could be an all-time great. I mean, they have played so well the first 2 games. Neither one of those games were close. And those were 2 of the 8 best teams in football last year. So, yeah, I could see being hesitant. But, yeah, most importantly, my overall record probably betting Cleveland through the years is got to be as bad as everyone else's. But they do seem to play very well at home. I've noticed through the years, too, their defense really does come to play at home.
It's just a matter of if they can score some points. Can you get 17 points out of them? Because to your point, they held Cincinnati, I think it was to like 146 yards, and Baltimore to 241 yards.
They should have won the Cincinnati game.
They should have won the Cincinnati game. And that game against Baltimore was 10-3 at halftime. Yeah. Then Baltimore's touchdown got set up by a blocked punt. Yeah. So their defense is playing great, but their offense is playing terrible. Like a little bit of a red flag that they couldn't score more than 16 points against Cincinnati, because for my money, Cincinnati has the worst defense in football. Like anybody that can't put up 24 points against Cincinnati, I have serious questions about your offense. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Cleveland. And you're right. We don't know where we know where the bottom is with Cleveland, right? Like we've seen enough Browns football to know how bad they can be. We don't know how good Green Bay can be. We might look back in a few weeks and be like, you know what? That number probably should have been 10.5 instead of 7.5.
Sure. I actually think, too, most power ratings I looked at before the season, most people actually had Cleveland as the worst team in the NFL. And I think after 2 games, they are not clearly. I think they're a step above the Saints, the Panthers, so I think they've actually played a little bit better. And plus, getting 7.5, too, I'd like to say, what's the total in this game? 41.5. Yeah. So those are stronger 7 points as if it were a total of 50. So that's another positive point, I think, for Cleveland in this game. But yeah, like you said originally, it's not easy betting Cleveland.
All right, put that up again, Lenny. Derek asked, Napier for Florida or McDaniel for Dolphins? Which one is fired first? I'll let you take this one. I know my answer.
I think it's McDaniel, but I can't have an argument either way. I think I think he's lost the locker room. I really do. I wouldn't be shocked if something happens even this week where tonight, since they've got an extra week or so. I mean, it's unlikely, but a bad showing tonight, I would say McDaniel, but I couldn't argue the other one either, Napier. But
yeah, if they get pasted tonight, if this game is like 40-14 or something like that, they did this once before with Joe Philbin. Regis Philbin got dumped early in the season by Stephen Ross, the owner of Miami. And, I agree with you. It's just a matter of time. The thing but Napier also, like, he's in a position. I'll go with McDaniel, Derek, just because they play tonight. But, do both of them survive the weekend? I wouldn't make that bet because I think that Florida is running into a buzzsaw in Miami. I might have to admit that I was wrong about the Miami Hurricanes. I do have a big play on their season win total under 9.5. I am not giving up on that because they do still have to play Florida State. They do have some tricky road games at the end of the year. They have to go to Blacksburg. They have to go to Pitt. And Mario Cristobal is good for one game that he's going to lose them. That's not it. That being said, I think Florida's running into a buzzsaw this week with Miami, and it's the same type of thing. If the Hurricanes bury the Gators, and remember, Miami went into Gainesville and beat Florida 41-17 last year. I think this is a better Hurricanes team and maybe a worse Florida team that if Napier gets buried this week, he might not have a job on Monday.
Wouldn't shock me. There was high expectations coming into this year for Florida, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And, so they can't be happy there. And like you mentioned, I was going to say with the Miami coach owner too, Ross, he's a Michigan alum. And so
is he really?
Yeah, big time, big donor there. They've got buildings named after him. So he's not afraid to fire coaches either. And, get rid of a guy that has to that he is not happy with. So,
all right, let's stay in Florida, go back to the NFL, and hop on another ugly dog. It's weird. It's so weird. And you know how this goes, man. Sometimes you just look at the board, and there's a game or a number that'll jump out at you. And for some reason, it doesn't make sense. You can't, rationally explain it, but it'll just stick with you all week. I've been like that with the freaking Jets all week. All week with the Jets. I didn't use it on my card because I can't justify a play on the Jets, but all week there's something about that game that's just kind of stuck out with me. Again, it's another one of those big dogs. Could be a potential shocking upset like we haven't seen. Is Tampa Bay just gonna roll over them, or could this be the one? Could this be one of those upset games?
Yeah, I loved the Jets last week and couldn't have been more wrong. I think most people really were onto them, and there was a lot of excitement after their week one showing. They really looked impressive against Pittsburgh. In fact, they probably should have won that game. And with a new head coach, it looked like he may have figured out some things with Fields, and I was really excited to see what would happen here in week 2 with them against Buffalo, and they played awful last week. So now they look like the Jets that we expected. So yeah, I'm up in the air both ways on them. But I do know that winless road underdogs are a very good bet in week 3. 0-2 road underdogs in the NFL week 3 are a good bet, and that the Jets fall into that. But I think more than anything on this game here, it's more about Tampa Bay. They're dealing with a ton of injuries right now. In fact,
their offensive line's a mess.
And I think, and they've been lucky. They're a 2-0 team that probably very easily, very easily could be 0-2 on this season. So yeah, I could lean either way. I actually, are you saying that you liked the Jets earlier?
I liked the Jets. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't rationalize it, right? I couldn't come up with a reason why I like the Jets, but that number just stuck in my head all week. And I was just like, man, I think that's going to be a close game. Part of it is I'm a big fan, win on Monday, lose on Sunday, right? That's what a guy taught me way back in the day when I was a sports reporter in New York. That used to be his saying every week. He's like, win on Monday, lose on Sunday. And I've noticed a correlation with that. So, to your point, like Tampa Bay should have lost at Houston. They got a little bit lucky in that game. How they are dealing with some injuries. How seriously are they taking the Jets right now? The problem I have with the Jets, though, is the same problem that I had backing Miami, is that I don't know if they're any good on defense. For years, they were good on defense, but the minute that Robert Saleh left that building, they've been a mess defensively,
Right.
giving up 34 points to Pittsburgh, 30 points, and Buffalo took their foot off the gas. I would prefer to bet on an 0-2 team, which my stat for you is 0-2 teams are 166 against the spread. That's 60.2% over the last 166 games in week 3. I would prefer to take a shot with a team like Houston, where I'm like, okay, they're not playing well offensively, but they have a really, really good defense, versus taking a team like the Jets or Miami, who has shown me a terrible defense with no fight, and hoping they can hold it together.
Yeah, last week really, I think, is affecting me in a big way here with not being able to back the Jets. One other thing, too, I think Mayfield hasn't really played that well yet. I feel like there's this perception that he has stepped up late in games, but I haven't heard he's thrown the most turnover-worthy throws this year, yet has yet to throw an interception. So they have been so lucky on Tampa Bay's side. But yeah, it's the Jets are kind of like the Cleveland team we talked about earlier. They're just such a tough team they're inconsistent. And like I said, their defense has this reputation of being this dominant defense, and it's simply not the case. And it hasn't been again this year, and it wasn't last year as well. And so, yeah, I stayed away from it too, but I would lean Jets in this game. It's one that does interest me. And with the way Tampa Bay is struggling and off to a 2-0 start, it wouldn't shock me at all if they laid an egg here in this one, but I couldn't get to the window either with the Jets. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, right. Like, how about walking up to the window, being like, give me 1,000 on the Browns and 1,000 on the Jets? Like, how do you want to be that guy? But look, we can't control where the value comes in, right? So, all right, what big plays do you have this weekend?
The bigger plays, and I have a big play in college football. Oddly enough, I like to lean towards smaller college football. I've always done very well in it, and I actually have a play in the UNLV at the Miami of Ohio. It's a noon start game on Saturday. 5-unit play. I'm 2-0 this year on both my 5-unit in-up selections in college football, and then I have a 7-unit play in Houston Jacksonville game on Sunday. Okay. Yeah. So 2 big plays, 3-1 this year on my bigger plays in college and pro football combined. So those are the 2 plays I have. Yeah. 5-0.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking some time out of your day. That is Jason Sharpe. Get his plays at DocSports.com. Like I said, use that free 60 link down below, or use the FB Party 10 promo and get a discount on Jason's plays. Good luck, and I will talk to you again soon.
Good luck to you too. Thanks for having me.
All right, for those of you that are watching live, I want to get some thoughts over here on like the backup quarterbacks this week, like particularly that Cincinnati-Minnesota game. I didn't touch it. I have a play on the total in that game, but I didn't touch the side. You guys let me know what you think. Jake Browning, Carson Wentz, 2 teams that haven't played well in the first month of the season. So you guys in the comments section, let me know who you're leaning to in that game. And as I mentioned before, if you guys have any games that you want us to talk about, college or pro, break them down. Again, Derek's Chiefs lose to the Giants and go 0-3. That's my bold prediction. Again, as we talked about, there hasn't yet been a game where a team favored by 6 points or more has lost. And over the last 6 years, there has been at least one of those games in week 3 every year. Now, again, we were on a 5-game streak with that in week 1 of the NFL this year, and it didn't happen. So maybe this is the year of the favorite, okay? We will see. But, all right, Lenny, who's the next guy that we got to bring in here and talk some football? Do we have Mr. Menken? We do have Mr. Menken.
How we doing, Robert?
Hanging in there. I'm going to get right to it with you. I know what game you want to talk about. I know what game you're thinking about. Dallas at Chicago. Chicago opened as a small favorite. All the money pours into Dallas. Dallas now a small favorite. Thoughts on this game?
You really had to do that. I have to talk about our Chicago Bears. I actually had them last week against the Detroit Lions. Just an awful, awful play on that behalf. But this line, Robert, this line all week has gotten to my head. The Bears, -1. Now it's shifted in Dallas' favor here, -1.5. And how I look at this one here And like you said, 0-2 teams in week 3. They're very good. Well, I'm not backing my Chicago Bears here. I just can't do it. I believe the value is on the Chicago Bears in this game, but I'm looking at the over-under in this one. I think both sides have to step up on the defensive side. You've seen what the Dallas Cowboys did last week against the Giants. What was it, 45 points that the Giants scored in that one, and the Bears
40-37, and the Bears gave up 52. Yeah,
52. Both of these teams in practice, I think, clean it up, and we see an under going this one. I think the public's got to be all over the over, especially after the performance by the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. So I would just go with the under. I'm not taking our Bears here. I just can't do it until they win a game, Robert.
I think that's smart. Like, again, like the public saw them both give up a ton of points last week. So you go the other way, assuming that they're going to make some adjustments. What do you think about Matt Eberflus coming back to face his old team? For those of you that don't know, the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator was the Chicago Bears head coach, unceremoniously fired last year after his Thanksgiving debacle. Thoughts on what he might bring to the table in this game?
Yeah, obviously it means a lot more for Matt Eberflus in that situation. I don't think the Bears are going to go above and beyond in game planning because of Matt Eberflus. They want to win the game. They need to win the game. They don't have any wins here. So I wouldn't put too much of thought into it, but this Cowboys defense is going to be well prepared with Eberflus here. He wants to get the win, and those guys on the defensive side for the Dallas Cowboys will want to play for Eberflus to get the win against his old team.
I am always a big fan, regardless of sport. When we have situations like this where former coach goes up against his team, I always lean to the former coach. I just feel like he is able to exploit the players more than vice versa, that innate knowledge. So we have a situation there. We also have one in college this weekend where Auburn is going to Oklahoma, where we have Jackson Arnold going back to face his own team. Brett Venables, defensive guy. He knows what Arnold likes and doesn't like. What are your thoughts there? Like, where are you leaning on Auburn, Oklahoma?
I actually have a premium. It's a pretty big play on that specific game, but the Oklahoma Sooners in that offensive line and the defense here. The number one thing for the Oklahoma is their defense. The way the first 2 games have looked stellar out of their defense. It's going to be hard for Auburn to come back into Oklahoma, or I should say the starting quarterback come back to Oklahoma and play that game. A lot of emotions going to be running through his head. We'll see how he handles it, though, in the first half.
Yeah, I felt like that was a few too many points. I like Oklahoma. I'm big on Johnny Mateer. I took them big against Michigan. Like, I am on the Oklahoma bandwagon. In fact, I'm on both of these teams' bandwagon. I think that Auburn and Oklahoma are going to be cashing checks, throughout the SEC season. There's just something about Hugh Freeze getting points, though, and the fact that Auburn should have beaten them last year. They had them beat last year. Late pick 6 swung the tide in that game. Again, I don't know. You have a play in this game, so I'm not going to make you drill down on it. But were there any other games in either high profile or in the SEC that caught your attention this week?
Yeah, there was 2 games that I had circled up, and one of them was that UNLV game over Miami of Ohio. And I could not, I know, and Sharpe just came on and said he has a big play, but I could not hit that submit button on UNLV. I don't know what it was. I'm looking at all the stats here on Miami of Ohio. Obviously, they played already 2 Power 5 teams. Wisconsin was the first one. They didn't score any points. They lost that game 17-0. They played competitive. Then what does UNLV do? Yeah, they got the win at home, but versus a UCLA Bruins team that is awful, fired their head coach. So I was very mixed emotions with this game. I leaned UNLV, but I just could not pull the trigger on that one. Robert, do you have any thoughts on this? I want to hear your opinion on this.
I did. I actually have a rated play on this, and I went with Miami of Ohio. I went with Miami of Ohio for a smaller play because they are 0-2, and it's different in college than in the NFL because, you're not shooting for the playoffs. You're shooting for like a bowl game. So different motivations at different parts of the season. But Miami of Ohio is 0-2. You don't want to go to 0-3, even if it is in the non-conference. They're coming off a bye week. They did play pretty well against Wisconsin and Rutgers, the 2 teams they faced. So this is actually a step down in class. But the big thing, and you mentioned about the UCLA win, which looks a lot worse now. Like, New Mexico actually went on the road and beat UCLA worse than UNLV beat them at home. So that delegitimizes that win a little bit in my mind. But for me, this was a big situational thing. We have a West Coast team from Las Vegas coming to Miami of Ohio. How hyped up do you think they're going to be for that? But they had a noon kickoff. That's 9 a.m. kick time, 9 a.m. Pacific time for college kids. I know Scott Spreitzer is somewhere yelling at the screen about how that's not a big deal in the NFL, but I 100% think that it's a big deal for college kids, getting them off their body clock. So I think a lot of things point towards Miami of Ohio. You're getting points at home, so I feel like there's value there. Now, one of the best games of the weekend, one of the biggest games of the weekend is that Texas Tech-Utah game. Similar situation, right? They moved this game to a noon kickoff. So it's going to be 9 a.m. local time to get them on Fox, to get them in the big noon window, the height of stupidity. Do you think that early kick time is going to have an impact on this game? And do you think it favors one team over the other?
I don't think it favors one team over the other. These are big implications in a team that's going to go 4-0 here after this one said and done. So you look at this one, and it's a 16 versus 17, and both offenses absolutely have thrived these past 3 weeks. And I mean, it's going to be a close one. I'm going to sit back. This was a game that was monitored by me, but I wanted to really see how these two teams come together and play against a good defense and offense here from both sides. I really do believe. So I'm going to sit back and watch this game, Robert, but I lean towards Utah. I know it's -3.5, but I think they get it done at home. Just what I'm seeing out of their offense, the way they're able to move the chains and bring some defensive heat, and definitely on their zone and their blitz protection too. Looked really good in the beginning of the year. So I'm leaning more towards Utah. But again, I want to watch these two powerhouse offenses here go up against each other, Robert.
Yeah, when I first looked at the college games on Sunday, this was my favorite game. I loved Utah. That was going to be 7-unit play. That was going to be my big one. It's still on my card, but obviously for much less. That's not my 7-unit play for those of you that are wondering. But I really like Utah. Like, the thing about Texas Tech is they've put up gaudy numbers against the worst schedule in college football, right? But there's two main things here. Number one, I've seen Utah in their own building. I've seen them absolutely just tear teams to shred and go rip shit riot on people in their own building. I do worry a little bit if that early kickoff time is going to take some of the energy out of that building versus if it was a night game, right? Like if this was a 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock local start, that place is a little bit more fired up. So I wonder if that's going to hurt them. But the other thing about Texas Tech is that I know everybody utilizes the transfer portal. Utah's starting quarterback, Devin Dampier, was a gift from the portal gods, right? But Texas Tech completely rebuilt their rosters. I just don't like mercenary teams, right? Like that's what I feel like it is. Where Utah, they were picked to win the Big 12 last year, fell flat on their face. Quarterback injuries, it was gross, it was bad, whatever. I feel like they have legitimate motivation, like that's built organically in that locker room to make up for last year. Versus Texas Tech, which just wrote a bunch of checks, brought in a bunch of good players. They're like, hey, let's go win the Big 12. Like, do you feel like as a motivational angle, I'm onto something? Or do you just look at Texas Tech and be like, dude, they're wrecking people and they have a ton of talent and they could win this game?
Yeah, I think it all leads to Utah. I mean, what are they really made of here? And this is their biggest test. I mean, how far are they going to go this season? I think Utah does have that edge, playing at home here and making a statement game against Texas Tech, who's 17th in the country. I think this is where they need to put all their plays mixed together and bring it a real good, fundamentally 4-quarter sound football game here for Utah, and to show that people that Utah is the real deal here this year.
All right, Gianni is asking, he says Buffalo loses the first half because Super Tour shows up in a cape against NFL policy. I very much like that. He also likes Buffalo over 30 team points. What are your thoughts looking at this Thursday night game?
It's tricky. It is tricky, and everybody in the right mind is going to be on Buffalo. And whether it is in your parlay as a money line here or -10 that you bought a couple points.
Survivor picks. Yeah.
Exactly. I would lean on this Miami Dolphins team. I know they've been atrocious here the first 2 weeks, but the offense is going to come around. They got weapons, Tyreek Hill, Waddle. You got them there on the offensive side of things. The only bad thing about this Dolphins team, well, not the only bad thing, but the bad thing about this Dolphins team is their defense. It's brutal. And where I'm liking the value in Thursday Night Football is going with this over right now. I see it's creeping up a little bit. It's sitting at 50.5, but I think both offenses here, especially the Miami Dolphins, they got to get off to a hot start here with Tua. Obviously, he's got a lot of criticism in the media here the first 2 weeks. I think he steps up on prime time, scores a couple points. Yes, the Buffalo Bills should win, probably will win, but I would go with that over 50.5 points tonight, Robert.
Yeah, I'm from the old school where I'm just kind of conditioned. Anytime I see a 50 or higher in a total, my instinct is just like under. Always bet against the public, go under. But I'm with you. I just don't see a scenario where, Gianni, to your point about Buffalo's team total, I like that as well. They've scored over 30 in both of their games. This is the worst of the three defenses that they're going to face. And as Arun Shiva, he's the one who kind of coined this. And I robbed it from him a long time ago, and I use it mentally in my handicapping. But Arun Shiva is big on underdog and over. If you think the underdog is the play, then you like the over, right? And it works in multiple sports, and I've seen it play out a lot. If Miami comes to play, and if they do cover, and if they do pull the upset, if they do threaten to win, it's not going to be on the back of their defense. Like maybe they'll pull out some turnovers, but they're going to have to come out and score against a Buffalo defense that they're missing Matt Milano. They're missing Ed Oliver. They did give up 40 points at home in the opener. So, yeah, I think Kerry Shaheed, that's exactly what we're just talking about in this game. Nick and I are both in agreement that we like the over in this game more than the side. But Gundy or Hednick, do you think there's some value in popping Buffalo in a teaser? Maybe popping Miami in a teaser? Or do you like one of the sides straight out?
Yeah, I would definitely do the Miami Dolphins in a teaser. And then if you want to do the under, go ahead and tease that as well. A little 2-team teaser there on Thursday Night Football. You're getting over a 6-point tease, I'll say. You're getting over 17.5. Obviously, that's 2 touchdowns and a field goal. I would definitely feel more comfortable teasing up Miami and obviously on that under on a 6-point teaser, Robert.
Under or over? Because I like the over. I would tease Miami in the over.
Well, over and then it drops.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, tease it for 6 points. You get it down to 44.5 on that total. You get them up over 17 points. You get them in that 18.5 point range. So that might be the play right there. Okay, what about what other games in the NFL jumped out at you? You researched them, and then you were like, no, not for me.
Yeah, you guys were talking about a little bit, and it's going to be the New York Jets, but I know you guys talked about that, and another one that I had circled was the Minnesota Vikings, and we could talk about that one, obviously, with 2 backup quarterbacks here going, and a lot of people are going to be on Browning. I feel like just as a dog in this spot, you know, he's been around the league and he solidified himself as a backup quarterback here. But let's not forget about Carson Wentz. Yeah, this guy's had some time in the league. He understands how to read defenses here, and Minnesota's defense looks a lot better than the Cincinnati Bengals defense here. So I think that with Carson Wentz, hopefully this Minnesota Vikings team could score a couple points. I think they do. I lean more towards Minnesota Vikings in this game. Money line, I don't know about that 2.5. I would take a money line, not the Cincinnati Bengals here, Robert.
Kind of kicking myself. This is like the second week in a row that like someone said something on the show that I was thinking about, and instantly I was like, God damn it, why wasn't that on my card? I agree with you. I like Minnesota. Okay. What sticks out to me is it was, I think 2 years ago, when Minnesota, I feel like, picked Josh Dobbs up off the street. Was that it? And started him against Atlanta, and they beat them and scored like 28 points. Like, look, Kevin O'Connell is one of the best coaches in the NFL, like, period. End of sentence. They are going to light up Cincinnati's defense. Carson Wentz sucks. He is not a long-term answer. There's a reason this is his 6th start on his 6th different team in 6 years. Okay. However, Cincinnati's defense is that freaking bad. Like they are awful. Anybody that doesn't light them up for like 24, 27 points, I have serious question marks on them. So am I nuts to kind of like the over in this game? 42.5. Like that number dropped down. What if, JJ McCarthy is absolute trash. He is a trash. But if McCarthy and Burrow were starting in this game, that number's 48.5, 49, don't you think?
100%, 100%. I think this over-under is a little too low, especially with the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Just it's a better confluence on why I like the Minnesota Vikings and the over now. It's just because how bad this Bengals defense has been, and then obviously Browning. He's been, like I said, he's been around the league. He's going to score points and move the chains. But the Vikings defense is better. But I think there's going to be a lot of points and maybe even a defensive touchdown on the Minnesota Vikings play.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about teams that are 0-2 in the NFL that have played better, or teams that are 0-2 that we know are better, the Houstons, the Kansas City, or whatever. I don't feel like people are talking enough about 2-0 teams that are kind of frauds. And the Bengals are right at the top of that, right? Like they should have lost to Cleveland at home. They should have lost to Jacksonville at home. They're going into Minnesota, who just got embarrassed on Sunday Night Football. Everything about this is pointing to like Minnesota blowout. It's now becoming one of my favorite plays that I don't even have on the card. So, okay, wait, don't tell me the games. Don't tell me what. Just give me unit ratings and whatever. Like, what are your top plays going on this week?
Yeah, we got a 3-pack on both Saturday and Sunday. We got a 5-unit play. That one starts off at noon. Eastern Standard Time. That's a 3-pack there in college football. And then on Sunday, it's followed up with a 3-pack as well, 5-unit on that side. That one starts at 3:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a total of 6 plays, 3 and 3 each day, college and pros.
Awesome. Nick, am I going to see you tomorrow on Docs Daily?
I will be there.
Awesome. Always great talking to you. Thanks for taking time out of your week, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks for having me, Robert, and good luck.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we do Docs Daily, 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, they do either a 10 or an 11 o'clock version in the morning. I believe it's 10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Get you primed for the Saturday college football. So absolutely make sure that you check that out. If you like and subscribe to the Doc Sports YouTube channel and turn on those notifications, they'll let you know when they're on Saturday. So you can get that going. Also, don't forget about FB Party 10, Football Party 10. That is the promo code for watching the football release party. That gets you 10% off a weekly pass for college football this weekend. And again, you got that free 60 down there to use in the description. So, all right. I know he listened. He's been blowing up the chat, which I love. I low-key love that Craig Trapp is coming in as our last guest. But like he has been activated this entire time. So bring him on in here. I want to see what he thinks about me calling his Cincinnati Bengals complete frauds as 2-0. They got to be the worst 2-0 team in the NFL, right?
Not one of them. I mean,
them or San Francisco.
Well, we're going to see what happens with the Browns, because the Browns have played better than I thought both games. Like last week's game was very deceiving. What the final score was, how close some of that game was to, I think, a very good Baltimore team. So, like, if the Browns say they win this week, all of a sudden, maybe those wins, mean a little more. And the Bengals, it's going to be how fast can Joe Burrow get back. If they can be 500 when Joe gets back, say 7-7, or maybe 6-6 or 6-7, and then he sweeps, and then they get the last wild card or something like that. But a lot's going to have to happen right for this team to probably stay in it while he's out. So, although Jake Browning is top 5 backup in the league, I mean, he was one game above 500, I think, last.
Yeah. Yep.
Last year when he was
4-3 as a backup. And that's what I was going to ask you about, is like, because this is a team that you are close to, that you follow closely, it's not just about the numbers with you, like you're tight with the vibe of this team. Where do you think their confidence level is going on the road this week?
I think they really believe they can win this game. I bet they wish JJ McCarthy was the quarterback, though.
Oh, no kidding.
Like, even though Carson Wentz has not, believe me, ever since he got that injury, he was going to win the MVP that year. They won the Super Bowl and he got that injury. He's just not been that guy. I don't know why, mentally or whatever, but it's harder to confuse a veteran. Like they've kind of seen things. They've probably seen everything that the Bengals are going to throw at him. Now, you're still with a new team. He got signed right at the end of training camp, so it's like that's a lot to learn in this short amount of time. But J.J. McCarthy has not seen that stuff, and we've seen him already just kind of be his own worst enemy a little bit. He's super athletic, but it's going to take him a little while to develop. I mean, I still consider him a rookie because last year, like I'm sure he was in all the rooms, but he didn't actually get the on the field training. So we'll see. I like the Bengals' chances this week, though. And they kind of a must win because I think they're going to get drilled against Detroit the following week. So if you go 3-0 and then you lose to Detroit 3-1, you kind of got to feel like, hey, we can still do this. Joe Burrow is going to be back at that point, it'll be 2.5 months. And you can still maybe talk it up. They're going to have to get turnovers. They're the key for that defense going to be turnovers because they're not just stopping teams. Like they're going to need a little help from the other team.
Oh yeah, no, I like to call Cincinnati has what I like to call an accidental defense. Yeah. Meaning if they get a stop, like a 3-and-out or something, it's completely by accident. Like the other team had a holding call or the quarterback missed an open receiver or something like that. Because
it was that late in that game, I said Trey Hendrickson hadn't had a sack yet, and it was like he got the ball back, and I said Trey needs one, and he got one. First play, I believe he got the sack. Then the clock was running, and it was pretty much game over. That's their only hope is that, a team does something stupid, like you should never pass the ball in first down against the Bengals because you can get 4 yards running against them.
Yes.
5 yards, maybe even more. But if you go first 10, second 10 now because of incomplete pass, then all of a sudden Trey Hendrickson becomes the best player on the field and can wreck the play. Then it's 3rd and long. Now they can get stops because 3rd and long, they can play at the sticks and just tackle them. But like if it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, this defense is not getting off the field very often.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of open receivers running around in the secondary when they played Cleveland and when they played Jacksonville. Like, make no mistake about it. Like, they played the Browns and the Jaguars in the first 2 weeks. What's
the advanced line, Lenny? Put in the thing. What's the advanced line against Detroit? Because now's the time to get on it. Because if they get shown up,
it's got to be 8.5. Is it in Detroit? It's got to be 8.5.
It's in Cincinnati.
If it's in Cincinnati, 6.5. If it's in Detroit, maybe 8.5,
I can
9, or something like that. So, you mentioned
because you got to get in now if you like Detroit, because if they get lit up on defense next week, it's going to go way up.
Yeah, which again, I'm starting to feel like I don't even have it on my card, and I'm starting to think that Minnesota, I just threw this game out because backup quarterbacks uncertainty. I don't want to deal with either one of them right now. That's the way a lot of people have approached this Las Vegas Washington game. And, you talking about Trey Hendrickson being like the man carrying that defense makes me think of Max Crosby and this Raiders team. So we don't know what's going to happen with Jaden Daniels. I actually don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play.
Why would you play him this week?
I don't think
it's a recipe to get injured, for a long-term injury that now the season could be over.
I don't think he's okay. This is my conspiracy brain just going a little nutty. I don't think he's okay. They had that vote earlier this week about whether or not to build the stadium back in Washington, D.C. Maybe there was a little maybe he's out for the year. Right? It did. Maybe he's out for the year. Maybe he's hurt long term. Maybe they just didn't want that getting out because it was going to be such a close vote. But bottom line is, I'm not, I didn't dive in on this game because I don't think that he is playing. Do you think that there is value betting on Washington right now? Because if he does play, this number is going to jump, 2 or 3 points, something like that? Yeah, Browns versus Lions. 10 is the number. 46.5 is the total. Dude, give me the over.
Oh,
yeah, give it.
Now.
That number is going to be 54. It's going to be 54.5.
Browning, if he plays enough games this year, we'll get tons of yards because they're going to be down in games. This dude can throw the ball. And if you guys, if you like following interesting things, follow his girlfriend, fiance. Dude,
go on.
She is.
Go on.
It's she does these outfits. Like the outfit she had on last week was crazy, and no one would have seen it if he didn't go in and win the game. And it was so just Google. I forget her name, but just Google Jake Browning's girlfriend, and you're going to follow her on. I think it's Instagram that she does most of her posts. It's great stuff.
See, that's a fantastic nugget that you cannot get anywhere other than Doc's football release party. So, okay, tonight's game, I want to take your temperature on this. We've been kind of going back and forth on this. I feel like Nick and I landed on solid teaser with Miami and the over, right? This one wasn't on your card, I'm guessing. Did you even give it due consideration?
Yes. And if you don't follow me and we cover every football game for the weekend, and so we covered this one. It's up there for everybody to see, but I'll tell you what we like. I like the first half Buffalo, full game Miami. This is one of those shooting through the eye of a needle.
Right, I'm throwing the needle here. Yeah, I like it.
It's if you like Like if you like Buffalo, I would take them in the first half because I think they'll be up double digits at half. And
Okay.
it's just everybody and their brother is on Miami. This is just like they were Philly week 1, by the way, on Thursday night, and they did not cover. I think this.
Wait, you just said everybody and their brother is on Miami. Did you mean everybody and their brother is on Buffalo?
Buffalo.
Okay, yeah.
Just like week 1, it was everybody was on Philly.
Yeah.
And like we saw what Dallas did. I think that'll be similar where I think they'll backdoor cover late. You know, they're up 10. They kick a field goal and try to kick the onside kick, don't get it, and all of a sudden they cover. Or get the touchdown because it doesn't really matter either way. They still get the onside kick in,
Yeah,
Like,
I mean
so
that's a cover 2 thing, right? Like McDermott is one of the last of the cover 2 guys that bend but don't break defense. And when you do get up big, you let teams back in the game that way. That's been a big criticism of him in the playoffs of why he can't beat the Burrows and the Mahomes, because if you just sit back against them, they pick you apart. It's interesting that was your take on the game, because that was the exact opposite of mine. Mine is if Miami doesn't get off to a good start in this game and keep it competitive early, they're going to quit. Like if they get down 20 plus points at some point, if Buffalo just comes out and is a razor, I have seen nothing from this Miami team or defense that thinks they're going to like grit it out and claw their way back. Like, no, they look like a team that's going to quit. So
I was thinking like 17-7 at half, something like that, Buffalo. And, that's like you're within – they're going to have to score. I also think Tua over 2, I think it's 238 passing yards or 200 – I think it's 238. That's actually my prop for tonight that I like, 2-unit prop for tonight is this. So one of my premium plays. I think –
what is it? What's the problem?
Over 238 and a half, I think, passing yards for Tua tonight. Because I think they're going to be down. I think he's going to have to pass the ball. And they still have crazy weapons. Like, like these are two. That's what people I think get confused is like just because you have great players, individual talent, doesn't mean you're going to be good. Like it just doesn't mean it because it's really won in the trenches. The best teams are really good, and that's why my Bengals are probably not going to be a great team. They're not good in the trenches. The offensive line, obviously, Joe Burrow's got hit more than any other quarterback his first 6 years, other than Andrew Luck. We saw what happened to Andrew Luck. He quit early because he's like, dude, can't protect. You can't win the trenches, offensive and defensive line. You very rarely win. Very rarely win.
Lenny, I want to welcome our new guy in the comment section and then bid him adieu. And he can get out of here. So, do you have any props or anybody that you're locked into tonight other than Tua? Like if you like Tua and you think he throws for yards, are you hitting up yards on Tyreek? Are you hitting up on Jalen Waddle? Maybe a Chane out of the backfield? His number was big for receptions and yards.
I kind of worry because it seems like this team is like only one of them gets receptions. I don't know why. It just seems like they both don't play great in the same game. It's like, okay, they take away Tyreek, and then all of a sudden Waddle has a big game. Or, Tyreek has 2 or 3 big catches, and it just seems like – so I stay away from the individual receiver props. I've just learned my lesson from the Dolphins in the past. But I do like the rushing totals of Josh Allen tonight. I like the rushing for what's the running back? Freaking going blank for the Bills.
Cook, Ray Davis.
I think Cook is going to get – because if you're up, they're going to be like, hey, if we're up 10 late, they're going to be like, hey, the whole third, fourth quarter, we're just going to try to take the air out of the ball here and just run. And I think they're –
That's why I like Ray Davis. That's why I like Ray Davis, the backup for Buffalo. If they get up big in this game, if this game goes the way the line suggests that it does, I don't think they're burning a 25 carry night on James Cook, right? If they don't need him, they're not going to do it. Especially because Ray Davis has looked really, really freaking good. I feel like if that guy can get 8 or 9 touches in this game, his total was around 24.5, something like that. So I would give that one a look.
I had on my 3 free picks I do every night. I said I think the tight end Kincaid to score a touchdown, anytime touchdown, and also Cook anytime touchdown, because I don't think they're going to use Josh Allen's legs unless they have to. It's one of those like you tried to be like, hey, can we save him more towards the end of the year when these games mean a lot? And then we can run him. So I like him. And Kincaid is just he is a elite tight end. I wish they would use him.
A bust? He is a bust is what he is? What do you mean elite tight end?
They just don't throw to him that much.
Dalton Kincaid ever took over.
They just don't throw to him. When they do, he catches the ball. If he was in Kansas City, this dude would – they would use him. And they use their tight ends more than anybody. It's just like, for a reason I don't understand, because Buffalo can run the ball if you can play action pass and hit tight ends. It's just easy to move the chains. They just don't. I don't know why. It just and there's usually wind and cold late in the year, so you would think tight ends over the middle much easier for whatever reason.
You would think, but or maybe he's just not that good. Like maybe he's just I'm not saying he's bad. He's not an actively bad tight end. But Dalton Kincaid is not going to any Pro Bowls.
Where they drafted him was the problem.
Right. That's what I mean. Like this is what drove me nuts about the Bears taking Colston Loveland in the top 10. It's like, dude, you don't waste top 10 picks on tight ends. Colston Loveland might be Kellen Winslow Sr., right? Doesn't matter. Like you take a linebacker or a defensive lineman or an offensive tackle at number 9. You can get by you can scoop out of the bargain bin for tight ends. But okay, we haven't talked any college football. You got to have something for me. What was a game that you looked at that you let go? What's a game that you really want to watch to see what happens? Maybe to gain some information for future bets. But give me the lowdown in college. 2
early games. North Texas at Army. I'm very interested in that game. I like North Texas in that game, I think. But it's just like I just couldn't like Army. That when they beat Kansas State, you're like, oh, that's a good win. And then like, Kansas State's just not done anything. So it's like, maybe it really wasn't. So that one kind of fell off the wayside for me because I just hate betting against them. Like last week, I had Navy as my best bet. They came back and won and covered for me. And the other game is Arkansas-Memphis. Is Arkansas like worn out? Because after you play Ole Miss, dude, it is just a different. And then now you got to go on the road to Memphis, which I think Memphis is a pretty good team this year, and it's more than a touchdown, right? It's 7.5, 7 in the hook. I kind of think Memphis and the over in that game. If you like same game parlays, I think that would be one because if Memphis covers, it's going to be a high scoring game. Like they're not going to just like shut Arkansas.
I didn't use it because in my career as a handicapper, I think I might be like 3-87 with college football totals. Like I just can't do college football totals. I don't do college basketball totals either. Like again, like I'm picking at like 2.6% for my career on totals. But I like the over in that Arkansas Memphis
seems
game.
good.
It really does. It's in the low 60s. It feels like a game that Arkansas, if they win and cover, it's 42-30. Or somewhere in that range. Memphis has been a fantastic home team. Arkansas, I believe they're 6-18 against the spread in their last 24 road games. They played that big game against Ole Miss last week. They have Notre Dame at home next week. So smack in the middle of 2 really big games for Arkansas, they got to go to Memphis. So this game is much more important for the Memphis Tigers than it is for Arkansas. But, I don't know. I don't love betting against Bobby Petrino offenses. Taylor Green, the quarterback at Arkansas, very, very good. I just feel like if Arkansas wins, it's going to be because they put up 40 plus.
I don't think they can stop anybody. I just don't think they're going to stop anybody. Like, now I don't know about Memphis because they just really haven't faced something like that. Bobby Petrino going back to where he got fired it's still like, if you'd have said, what are the chances? Just think we could have bet this. What are the chances after they fired him that he's going to come back here and be like, welcome back? Like, yeah, come on back and be off the court. Like I would have been 0.1%. And it's like, now he's coming back to be the savior of this offense on a coach that is on a hot seat. So like,
right. No. This is like the quintessential Bobby Petrino, right? He was like, wow, this guy's on the hot seat. Let me go sidle up to him so that when they cut bait with Sam Pittman, they already got the answer in-house on who they're going to hire. If Rich Rod can make it back to West Virginia, I know it's not the same thing.
Yeah,
what happened to Petrino in Arkansas. But, Scott Frost going back to UCF, which that's a game that, nobody's really talking about, not on a lot of people's radar. What do you think about that North Carolina Central Florida match? Like, is North Carolina a value buy? Like, was them getting embarrassed on that Monday night opener maybe the best thing for bettors that like, the Bill Belichick experience?
I kind of like Charlotte tonight because they didn't give up after UNC got up early on them. So I kind of like Charlotte a little bit tonight. Like, not I'm not like one unit type play. I just thought it's interesting Thursday night. Usually these Thursday night college football games don't get a whole lot of excitement because they're playing up against NFL. I kind of thought that, and I think would tell us how good is North Carolina. If Charlotte is up winning it, looking impressive tonight, I said maybe that North Carolina win there was a get right spot. And now I don't think UCF is going to be great this year. So like this is like I think a little value here on North Carolina, but not enough for me to like. Because Coach Belichick, like we know, I remember when forget who he got beat, and he said it's on to Cincinnati. And the next week was my Bengals, and we go over there. It's a good team. I think that was Red Rifle era, Andy Dalton, and they go over there and get smoked on a good team. It was like that was a playoff team. And that's what I felt like he did. Like after they lost, he got embarrassed to TCU. It was like week 2. We figured it out. No one was talking much. I just feel like this is North Carolina. You can't buy any lower. If they win this week, it's only going to go up.
Mm-hmm. Right? I agree with you. Like, and not only do I think that we can buy low on North Carolina, like that TCU team that they lost to, I think is really freaking good. Like,
I think play SMU this week, right? They play SMU.
Yes, TCU plays SMU. I like TCU revenge game, rivalry game, the Iron Skillet game. Like SMU pasted them. They hung 66 on them last year. Sonny Dykes got kicked out of the game in the third quarter, got back-to-back penalties for just harassing the refs and got thrown out of the game. I feel like this was a game that TCU had circled, and I just think TCU is really, really good. I think we're going to look back at the end of the year and be like, you know what? It makes sense that TCU absolutely bombed North Carolina in that game. So, yeah, Belichick is an underdog. In that game against TCU, they were a small underdog in that game, but it was basically like kind of a coin flip game. Like, we don't know what we're going to see out of this.
And they scored, right? What is 7-0? They scored first, 7-0, and then they didn't score for like forever.
Yes, correct. It actually could have been a lot worse. But
imagine if you had the end game on that one, because you probably could have got like plus 120 after they scored a touchdown, and then it was like, at half, they were up like 3 touchdowns, right? So it's like it was over. It was.
Listen, I had TCU in that game going into that week. That was my favorite play of the week, and that was one of those like Utah was, how I mentioned with Nick. And then as we got closer to Thursday, I was like, nah, I can't do it. And then they bomb them. I'm like, God damn it! Like that's why you always stick with your first opinion here, people. Yeah. So all right,
I'm interested in what Belichick does, not because just what it does. I think it does this open the door for more NFL coaches to get fired to take on premium jobs in the college football, because they do pay really well now. And now with the transfer portal, where you can basically, it's free agency, like if you've got a big name. So I think it would behoove college football if he does well, because it might bring some really talented coaches that are towards the end of their career in the NFL.
Mike McDaniel to Stanford. How about that?
I mean, we do have an NFL coach at Stanford, by the way.
Interim though, right? Like he's not the one.
He won last week already. I think they're going to hire him.
But tell me that Mike McDaniel scheming up some stuff for college kids that he wouldn't run circles around some,
Although Chip Kelly didn't work out when he went back.
Defensive coordinator until he won a national championship. Until he won a national
coordinator. Yes, I think that was the key. I think with Chip Kelly is he needs to be a coordinator. He's super talented when he just has to focus on offense. Mm-hmm. Not the greatest, like, hey, let's all hold hands so that we can like fight to the top. He's only worried about the offense. He don't give a shit about the defense. Right. And now as offensive coordinator, that's what he does. So, I mean, at the Raiders have the best of both worlds, because they have one of the greatest, like, hey, we're fighting for the same thing kind of coach and Pete Carroll. Mm-hmm. And then they got a great offensive coordinator. Now, if they could just get a quarterback, which I think, if they lose this year, they'll probably go out and although that North Dakota kid, right? He's going to get a shot here soon, I'm guessing.
That's why I kind of like the Raiders, by the way, to put a bow on this. I kind of like the Raiders a little bit this week. Whether or not Jaden Daniels plays, everything about it, it's a bad situational spot, right? Yeah. Like second trip to the East Coast in 3 weeks, coming off Monday Night Football, coming off a disappointing divisional win. Washington is Washington. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is kind of where Pete Carroll eats, right? Like to your point, he's going to have the Raiders ready to go. Right, yep. I don't know if Washington is going to be ready to go, because I don't know how seriously they're taking the Raiders. And they look like they were one of those teams that I was selling coming into the year. Washington was, due to natural statistical regression. And it's like I said when I bet against them with Green Bay last year. If you don't like a team coming into the year, you got to bet against them, man. Like, there's no point waiting to be like, I knew that they weren't going to be any good. No, like, put your money out there. I think this is a game that the Raiders could get.
Yeah, they're one of my teams that if you had to put a money line parlay together, like a lot of people like, they would be at the top of that money line, like teams that can win outright this week, because they did look pretty bad last week. I mean, the Chargers gave them the ball at midfield late. All they got to do is score, and they get the backdoor cover, and then they just do nothing. He didn't even. It was like they were trying to throw the game. It was ugly. They're
moving the ball a little bit, but they I think their offense is. I think the Raiders' offense is due for a little bit of a breakout. Like I feel like they've been good between the 20s in these first two games, but they just haven't put any points on the board. I think Washington's a little susceptible. But all right, who are your not what games, but just unit ratings and things like that? What are your big plays going on this football weekend?
Well, I got 8 plays, 4 in college football, 4 in NFL. Last week I was 5-2 at 7 plays. I have a 6-unit in college football going late on Saturday. Big Ten matchup there. 7-unit play is Monday Night Football game. I really like that one as the best bet of the week. And then I have a 5-unit play in, just so everybody knows, it's in the Robert Bowl. It's the Bears game there.
Boy.
Bears in Dallas in the afternoon. So I have a pretty strong opinion in that game. Almost made a 6-unit play out of it, but it ends up being a 5-unit play. So that's what I like for the weekend. I think this is I wasn't great week one NFL. That Ravens back. Basically, I got backdoored on that Ravens game where I looked like I was going to win. Terrible bad beat. If I win that one, I have back-to-back winning weeks. But last week we bounced back. We look to make it another one this week.
Here is my prediction about that Dallas-Chicago game. Monday morning or even Sunday night, it's going to look like one of the most obvious plays of the weekend. I don't know who's going to win. Either Dallas is going to win by 2 touchdowns or the Bears are going to win by 2 touchdowns. I do not think that this is going to be like that Giants-Cowboys game where it's back and forth and it comes down to a field goal at the end. I think one of those teams is going to win by double digits, and everybody's going to be kicking themselves for either not being like, oh, yeah, Bears at home, 0-2, bounce back, Cowboys stink, or the Cowboys win, and it's like, oh, yeah, bet against the Bears every weekend.
Yeah,
so,
well, I mean, if the Bears win, they're both 1-2. If the Cowboys win, they're 2-1. Yep. And, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're like, oh, right, we traded away our best player, and we're still only 2-1. And 2-1, to be honest, 2-1 and
probably should have beaten Philadelphia.
They did cover. They had the ball, and CeeDee Lamb dropped a long pass. If he catches that, he dropped 2 passes, actually. One earlier in the game, too. That was huge. So
because this was the Eberflus Bowl, this was a game that I circled back in July when I was doing my research for the season. I thought the Bears would be around 3.5-point favorites. And at that number, I absolutely loved the Cowboys because, as I mentioned with Nick, I like the old coach going up against his former team thing. Now the fact that the Bears are 1.5-point underdogs, and that's so different. That's a 5-point swing compared to where I thought the line should be. Obviously the value, in my opinion, is on the Bears. The one thing about it, though, is, and this is 2 different types of handicapping, and I know I got to let you go. We'll get into this maybe more next week. It's like numbers handicapping, where I say the value is here because I had the number X and it's Y. But then I look at the matchups, and I'm like, look, the Bears are missing their 2 best corners. Okay, Jalen Johnson is out, and their second best corner is out. How the hell are they going to match up with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens? Right? Like how are they going to stop them? So that's another conversation for another day. Do you like the number? Do you go with the numbers, or do you go with the matchups? And how do you?
Well, I think this game comes down to quarterback play, which means Caleb. This is it. I mean, this is his this is what we signed. We got you number 1 because sometimes you have to pick up. Sometimes the defense picks up for the offense, but when you have your best defenders out, that's when you have to lean on your quarterback and say, hey, listen, we're not asking you to do a lot every game, but this is the one we really need you. So I think I have the answer to this one. I hope, you always, everything they say, it always sounds like great until you're kicked in the face. You just never know what the greatest plans are. So we'll see.
Again, whichever team you have is going to be down 13-0 on Sunday. You'll be like, God damn it. Why did I just go to the other side? It was so obvious the whole time. So, all right, Craig, thank you very much for taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock on Docs Daily. Good luck this weekend. All right, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Hopefully, you took some good information out of this. Hopefully, you found this entertaining and enjoyable. If you did, again, hit that like and subscribe to the Doc Sports YouTube channel. Turn on notifications. You're getting free plays. You're getting analysis videos. You're getting stuff from all different sports. We just did an hour and 10 minutes on football. We could do another hour on football, but we're doing WNBA, baseball. NHL starts October 7th. by the way. Those packages are up and available on the site. So, you know, we got what you need, and we're here to help. So hopefully you found this show helpful. So good luck to everyone this weekend. We will be back next Thursday at the same time. Until then, carpe diem and good luck.